Space is the beginning and end of everything. The vast unknown, as scary as it is, but is trying to make some sense of it, and uncovering its mysteries can be downright terrifying. We already know quite a lot about the universe, and yet we don't know enough. In this video, we have for you 10 creepy facts about space that you just can't unlearn. Number 10, meteors could strike the Earth at any time. If you are feeling too full of yourself, remember that if a large enough meteor were to strike the Earth, we could all be gone in a flash, just like the dinosaurs. Of course, today science has developed enough to give us prior notice if a meteor is headed our way. But even then, meteors have been inflicting damage on our planet for ages. In 2013, a meteor crashed over the Ural Mountains in Russia, showering tiny meteors on the ground below and injuring hundreds of people. Of course, everybody was thoroughly shaken, but if this meteor was bigger, it could have caused a great loss of life. Number 9, space doesn't smell great. So we can't smell space directly, of course not, our noses don't work in a vacuum. However, astronauts on the International Space Station have reported that space has a very distinct, peculiar smell. They can't smell the odor while they are floating about in space. The smell of their spacesuits is like plastic. But once they step into the space station and remove their helmets, they get a strong whiff of the smell that clings to their spacesuit, helmet, gloves, and other tools. The astronauts have described the smell of space as the acrid aroma of seared steak, hot metal, and welding fumes. Stephen Pierce, a chemist appointed by NASA to recreate the space odor on Earth for astronaut training, said that the metallic smell could be because of the high-energy vibrations of ions. Number 8, there are rogue planets wandering around in space. Most planets follow their orbits obediently, like the 8 planets of our solar system. However, there are some planets that have been pushed out of their orbits. Not all the planets have a home. If a planet doesn't have a solar system, it is considered to be a rogue planet. What would happen if a rogue planet were to collide with our Earth? If we were unlucky enough to be on a collision course with a rogue planet, the Earth would be completely damaged. But our solar system is large enough for a rogue planet to pass by without any fatal collisions. However, the rogue planet might cause a disturbance in the orbits of all the planets, and this is not the best news for Earth. Our planet orbits in a narrow habitable zone. It is not too hot nor too cold. But if the Earth's orbit were to shift, it could bring us too close to the sun, which would result in experiencing short but extremely hot summers and very long and super cold winters. Number 7, space can ruin your eyesight. A trip to space can mess up your eyes severely. The pressure levels in space cause an increase in the amount of fluid surrounding the brain. This extra fluid can strain your optic nerve, causing your eyes to swell. This fluid shift can ruin an astronaut's eyeballs. Someone with 20/20 vision can end up with nearsighted vision. 2/3 of astronauts have reported deteriorated eyesight after spending a prolonged time in space. Number 6, galaxies can eat each other. Yes, galaxies can and do eat each other. In a phenomenon known as galactic cannibalism, a galaxy collides with one or more galaxies and swallows them whole. Larger galaxies collide with smaller ones once every 8 to 9 billion years. Scientists have proven that the Milky Way is also a product of galactic cannibalism. The phenomenon is a lot more common than you might think. The Milky Way has consumed more than a dozen galaxies by now and is well on its way to swallowing another one. Astronomers also believe that the Andromeda galaxy is coming for the Milky Way and will likely end the Milky Way. Thankfully for us, this won't happen for at least the next 4.5 billion years. Number 5. When you look at the stars, you are looking back in time. This fact is quite poetic if you think about it. Light takes a long time to travel through space, and the speed of light is finite. Because of how far away the stars are from us, when we look up at the light from the twinkling stars, we are actually looking back in time. For example, the bright star Sirius is 8.6 light years away. When we look at the star, the light that we see has been traveling for 8.6 years. So when you see Sirius, you see it as it was 8.6 years ago. So this time it will depend upon how far away the star is from us. Pretty surreal, isn't it? Number 4, there are floating corpses in space. In the early days of space travel, many animals were sent into the vacuum, such as cats, dogs, and even a chimpanzee. Of course, not every animal made it back safely. Similarly, many spacecrafts have also failed to make it back to Earth after some failed missions in the past. A lot of human crew members have also died after being launched into orbit. This leads to an extremely creepy but likely theory as to where these remains are now. It is highly plausible that space is littered with corpses floating around in the great nothingness. Forgive us, but we definitely do not want to ponder over this thought. Number 3, solar superstorms could leave us in total darkness. The sun is always burning, but sometimes there can be a sudden burst of brightness known as a solar flare. As if this wasn't scary enough, the solar flare can be accompanied by another phenomenon known as coronal mass ejection, or CME, which can go in any direction. If the CME, also known as solar storms, tears through the Earth's orbit, the damage can cause the Earth to be plunged into complete darkness. In July of 2012, a solar storm almost hit Earth. This flare was the most powerful in more than 150 years, and it narrowly missed us. If the eruption had happened even a week earlier, Earth would have been largely impacted with devastating after effects. Number 2, extended space travel can alter your DNA. Creepy much? But it is in fact true. Astronaut Scott Kelly spent a year at the International Space Station in 2016. Upon returning, he realized that he was 2 inches taller than when he had left. This was still okay. What was startling was the differences between Scott and his identical twin Mike, who is also an astronaut. Scientists compared the DNA of the twins and found that, along with the height difference, Scott's gut bacteria were completely different. His gene expression had also changed. Kelly did return to his original height eventually, but it turns out that the other genetic changes were irreversible. This means that Kelly and his brother are no longer identical twins. Scientists concluded that these changes were a result of the stresses of space travel, which can cause changes in the biological pathways of a cell. Number 1, black holes really are scary. So, black holes sound scary and you should be scared. For one, black holes are practically invisible. You cannot directly see a black hole. Astrophysicists have to use their tools to detect a black hole. In April of 2019, a historic announcement was made as scientists had captured the first ever picture of a black hole. From its name, you might think that a black hole is empty, but it is actually the opposite. Black holes have such a strong gravitational field that nothing can escape them. They can be extremely small or immensely huge in size. Right at the heart of the Milky Way is a massive black hole 4 times bigger than our sun. If a human were to ever go near a black hole, they would be turned into something like spaghetti before finally getting lost in the oblivion forever. Black holes can also create new universes. It is very likely that our own universe emerged from a black hole. So which fact creeped you out the most? Let us know in the comments, and also don't forget to like and share this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel for more such interesting content.